Senator, is it fair to say that this stimulus, if it comes to pass, is looking, well, iffy?
Well, listening to what we just heard, it's sad that in the biggest business in the world, the federal government here, that we don't do budgets anymore. We rely on continuing resolutions. So on COVID, which we tried to pass in September and October, would have been targeted. A state like Indiana, we basically got 5% unemployment, nearly full. We've come all that distance. A lot of places are getting close to where if it doesn't happen soon, they won't need it. But the place, Neil, has gotten to where we don't do anything on time. We don't make a move until you're forced to either shut the government down or run out of time. And that's basically the dynamic we're in. I do think that over the next few days into next week, something will come together. And you mentioned all the moving parts. State and local government aid that the Democrats say they have to have. They don't want to budge on limiting liability for schools, companies, nonprofits. And then you've got the new entry, which would be direct payments that the White House threw in there. I think enhanced unemployment insurance to the tune of $300 a month for 4 months, that should go through. And I do still believe we'll get it done, but the gamesmanship is what the American public ought to be ashamed of, because we've got a lot of time to not only get a budget done, we've tried to work on COVID now for 3 months.
Yeah, it just stymies. I know you have been criticizing the media for failing to investigate charges of voter fraud and all, and I don't want to revisit that argument, but is it your sense right now that the fraud was such, that it was on such a scale that it has tipped the election to Joe Biden, that if it weren't as widespread as certainly as Donald Trump and others in the campaign say it was, that he would already be looking at another 4 years in the White House?
So I've been out at least 2 or 3 times on the subject, last Sunday as well. And my point is, with the nature of what we just went through, where you have all of these ballots dumped into a system that wasn't ready to handle it, definitely more irregularities. Does that mean systemic fraud? Does it mean widespread? My point is, that's one extreme. Doing nothing is another, Neil. And my idea was that we should be giving more than just routine investigation on this stuff. The clock has gotten to be an issue as well. What can you do? Obviously, the courts have not seemed to think that there's enough there. I don't think that means there's nothing. This may go into somewhere down the road. We had a commission.
But do you think that Donald Trump won the presidential election?
I think that case has tried to have been made up to this point. You've not had anybody formally put it there. If you try to add all of it up, a lot of things would have to coalesce to make that happen. But I don't think that's probably the case.
Senator, that for it to okay, understood. So let me ask you this: 5 days or so from now, Electoral College meets. Concludes that Joe Biden has the 306 electoral votes, more than the 270 needed. Is he the president-elect of the United States?
Even the White House has said so. If you do not have the evidence produced by then, they'll accept that threshold. Does that mean it's going to go away? I don't think so. For me, that was always the deadline, that when we came to it, if nothing had coalesced, we need to look forward. I don't think for close to half the country, they'll be satisfied with that. And I think in those places where you should be doing audits to instill confidence, not only in January 5th for down the road, for the same reason Jimmy Carter and James Baker said there was a need of that just 15 years ago. If we're going to go to more
no doubt.
paper
but Senator,
ballots,
I guess what I'm asking, you're one of the few Republicans I've had a chance to talk to who would say that the way things stand now, it would really take a lot of a combination of things for the election results to change. But so many of your colleagues are reluctant to refer to Joe Biden as the next president of the United States. Why is that?
I think that's because when you come to December 14th, that's a major threshold, and I think you'll see things change then. That does not mean that the discussion of it or the need to ferret out issues that just couldn't get done in the time frame available, that you should just forget it.
But you think on December 14th, sir, that once the Electoral College meets and concludes, or that Joe Biden has amassed more than enough of the electoral votes to be next president, all of those colleagues who've been reluctant to call Joe Biden that will start referring to him as that, the next president of the United States?
That's a threshold January 6th when it comes to Congress. That's the next, and I think that's right around the corner.
You don't think they'll wait till then? You don't think they'll wait till then, will they?
I don't think many will.
Okay. Senator, thank you very, very much. Very good seeing you. Be safe, be healthy.